So the fact that Tora then pulled out a Gil folder makes me wonder, does he think there's a connection between Yadori and Gil? That like Gil hired him or something?
Yeah, maybe. Gil he can't be working alone, can he, doing what he's doing? So there's got to be other people kind of in on it somewhere.
Welcome to The Story Thinker, a Webtoons and Witcher podcast for superfans with scene-by-scene analysis. Featuring sharp co-hosts for a fuller picture, we dive deep into character psychology, relationships, and theories. We'd love it if you could like, subscribe, comment, and rate us on all podcast platforms and social media. For bonus content, you can support The Story Thinker on Patreon. Let's begin.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 101 of Midnight Copyland, and we are here with Sadie from Celestis Webtoon.
That's it, Celestis Webtoon, which is back now, finally, after, I think I took 2 months off in the end.
Okay, so welcome back. And you've been posting a lot of cool fan arts and meme arts, which I found very funny.
Yes. Well, I still wanted to be drawing one. I took time off because I was really sick, and it took a long time to get better. And I just wanted to do something kind of low pressure and, you know, not working to deadlines and stuff. So I thought I'd draw some of these memes, and they were so much fun.
And I've noticed your art style is getting, I've noticed it changing, which is cool. Like it's getting more sophisticated and more detailed and like more nuanced, like the shading is better. And I just noticed
I have been practicing an awful lot. I've been reading books on lighting and things as well, and techniques, and watching so many YouTube videos because I was off sick for, like, actually off work for a good couple of weeks. And just all I had the energy to do was lie on the sofa and watch YouTube. So that's what I did.
That's cool. I mean, I'm sorry that you were sick, but at least you used it well.
Productive, kind of.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. So congratulations on the improvement, I guess.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get started.
Yeah, we'll go from the beginning. And we've got, she's holding, no, it's Quincy, isn't it? Quincy is holding the phone. Oh, Poppy, oh dear. Okay, I feel a little less rattled now. Just in time to receive my items. So he's getting some furniture delivered.
He's such a spoiled brat.
He is so spoiled, isn't he? And then Poppy said,
I don't know about you, but whenever we moved into houses, it took like months for us to get furniture. We were like sitting on the floor eating, then and most of our furniture was free, and then like it was only like 10 years into our marriage and we could like buy furniture.
Nearly all our furniture was hand-me-downs for like the first 10 years. It's only recently since we moved house last year, and actually invested in some proper furniture, like grown-ups. But we still don't have a sofa, which people find weird. So.
Okay.
No, we haven't really got room in this house for a sofa. But we've got these, like, the chairs for bad backs, basically, because I'm an old cripple. So we just have 2 chairs instead, and it's much better for me. So I don't miss having a sofa particularly. So you get used to it, don't you? I do kind of want to know what Quincy's ordered.
I think a bed, right? Because they're sleeping kind of like on a mattress on the floor, so I would guess a bed.
Yeah, maybe they've ordered, like, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be anything in the house, does there?
Yeah, right.
It's just like completely empty. It's just some boxes and a couple of tables. That's it. Anyway, Poppy says, good to know, but superstition aside, there's still a chance this was done by a living person, right? So they're referring to they'd written in the dust, hadn't they? Someone or a ghost had written in the dust. Was it, what did they write? Go. Yeah. That was it. I couldn't remember. But I would really love it if it was actually a ghost. It's not going to be a ghost, but I would love so much for it to be a ghost story in the middle of Midnight Copyland.
Randomly. I think the fact that now they're talking about it and like, oh, maybe it was talking about living person, check the spirit cameras. I think that's leading us to, you know, like, okay, it's a real person and it's not Tora pulling a prank on them. Like, it's actually a sus person.
I want to know who it is, though. if it's not a ghost. If it is a ghost, I will be very happy then. I'll make that note. Quincy says, I know, I'm not that airheaded, Miss Editor.
I just know that he has to defend himself against that accusation all the time.
I know. Well, he obviously is quite self-aware. He knows what he's like, doesn't he? Yeah. And it comes back to that kind of he projects this kind of goofy, soft persona, doesn't he? But then underneath, I'm not convinced he's really quite as airheaded as he appears.
Yeah, I think he lets himself be that way because he can, but when he has to be serious and take control, he will. But I do think, like, I don't think the airheadedness is completely an act. I think it's just a part of him that he can play when he has the ability to do so, like when there's no pressure on him and when he doesn't. Obviously, we talked before how he used it, I think, to get away with mafia duties. You know, he played up to that so his dad doesn't make him do something he doesn't want to do. But I think that, you know, I don't know if it's like an act, I just think it's something he plays up. And I think we all have elements of our personality that come out when we're in different situations.
Definitely. I highly doubt it, but I am aware that a living being might have written this, not a ghost. So don't worry, we'll check the security cams as soon as we can. And then there's a little heart. I love the little hearts at the end of his speech bubble.
Yeah, it's really cute. You can just hear his like intonation. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's like extra punctuation. It's just so cute. But I like that it's still maybe it was a living being. It's still a question for them. They haven't decided. I just thought it was funny. Honestly though, Homeboy's the real deal here. He'd notice immediately if there was a break-in. And then we can see the outside of the pretty house.
It's very pretty. It's very relaxing.
It is, isn't it? Pretty house. Just loading, bear with. I don't think you realise how highly skilled your gloomy little ball of doom actually is.
Notice well, he did. He's like he's on the ship. He's like you're gloomy, you know. It's like
I love that he calls him a gloomy little ball of doom. Mm-hmm. You get that? Would you say that to Tora's face, Quincy?
Yeah, he did. He definitely would. Like that to him.
Yeah. Then he gets smacked, and then they'd be crying. He did refer to himself as a lethal weapon. He did, didn't he? That was right early on. Oh, that's so
very, yeah.
And then I like this panel. Seriously, he said that to you. I got Poppy laughing there. I bet he didn't even bat an eye. That man's ego knows no bounds.
Oh, so funny.
I just love that the little interaction. They're just ripping on Tora. He's not even there.
Yeah, in a loving way.
Yeah, in a kind of a really affectionate way. It's really sweet. Oh, it's funny.
I'm trying to remember. Does Quincy ever like hype himself up? Because he's saying that Tora has an ego. Does he ever like say, you know, like, oh, I'm this, I'm that? Or I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
I don't think he does, especially no. I mean, he obviously takes care of himself, so he is conscious about the way that he looks, like when he's got his little face mask and his towel on the or super Quincy, you know. But yeah, I don't remember him ever talking himself up. Not the way Tora does.
Right. Okay, not bad. I feel like he's fairly confident about himself in some areas, but yeah, he hasn't mentioned it here. So okay.
Yeah, quiet confidence. I really like their outfits. In this episode, they are so cute. They look like they're about to go
80s wallpaper.
Yeah, they look like they're about to go to the beach in like 1985.
Right.
And I love it.
Quincy's shorts are also very short. They're short.
They are very short, aren't they?
Like, you know, they're, what is it called when you just cover like your posterior?
Booty shorts.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So.
And then speaking of Tora, isn't he right over? there. And she's looking across out of their lovely porch to the pretty garden with the nice lanterns. It is really pretty, isn't it? There.
It is. It's beautiful. They got those cherry blossoms, right, or something.
Yeah, I don't know, pink trees. And at the end of the last episode, Tora was out there poking around with the lanterns, wasn't he? And he has disappeared now. I'm sorry, what was that, Pops? She says, and nothing.
Oh, he calls her Pops. It was a cute nickname.
I know. It's so cute.
He's such an affectionate fellow.
He is really, but he still calls her Miss Editor, and I think that's adorable as well. It's like so polite and polite, but also very kind of endearing and sweet.
Basically, Quincy is the best.
he's the best one. We agree vehemently. By the way, is it okay for me to help clean this place up a little in exchange for the lodging and stuff, like as a housekeeper of sorts? And then Quincy's like, a housekeeper? I thought that was a bit odd. I was like, why do you want to be a housekeeper, Poppy?
I mean, you know, we know that she struggled with feeling out of control before, with, you know, the fact that she couldn't make choices herself. I feel like this is a way of her getting some agency back, and also, you know, feeling like not completely indebted to Tora. I mean, she doesn't know that he bought her the house, right? But, you know, he's still presumably paying for it, right? He didn't ask her to pay for this house. So I think she feels like she wants to regain some autonomy and, you know, feel some self-respect so that she's not completely helpless.
Yeah, I know, I get that. Yeah, not indebted to anybody else. Yeah. And I look at his face.
So if it was me, I'd be like, because the house is filthy and I want to clean it, right? But I saw her house is like, I don't know if it's dirty, but it definitely wasn't so organized, right? Like she leaves stuff, you know, just on the floor. But, you know, it could be that she wants it to be, also she's just annoyed that it's filthy, right? So
yeah. I mean, it is all dusty and everything, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe the ghosts will be appeased when it is clean. I love Quincy's face in the next panel. He's just like, what?
So when I first saw that, now at the end of the chapter we understand his face, but when then I was like, why is he making that face? I was like, what? I was like, I did think that I knew there was something brewing in his mind, but I couldn't figure out what.
He has got that kind of like naughty schoolboy kind of, wait, what?
What did you think when you saw him? Like what he was thinking?
I was like, he is up to something. There's going to be trouble of some description. I couldn't decide what, but I thought that was quite funny. And then, cool, I'll help myself to the supplies, and off she goes. All you see is her tiny little head. She's so tiny compared to the others. So the boys. And then we're back inside. So anyway, I'm heading to town for groceries. So see you in the evening. I'll grab dinner while I'm there. So text me what you'd like. Heart.
It's gonna take all day to get some groceries. It's like morning, afternoon time because he invited her for lunch. So which they didn't eat, but whatever.
Would you expect anything less? I can imagine it taking like 4 hours to do a grocery shop with Quincy. Just want to look at everything.
Oh my gosh, where he's like, oh my god, we have to try this, like Marcella from India, we have to try, look at this spice, I've never tried this before.
Yeah, all the apples have to be exactly the right color, because if they're not, no. They have to match. So probably, okay, sounds cool, see you later. And then off he goes. Oh, and the cleaning supplies are in there. And I don't know what he's got a hold of there. What is that?
I think it's his rolled up bed. I think. Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, okay, a little bit like the bed looks thicker than it should be, like if it was rolled up like that, but whatever. We're gonna ignore that.
We'll just get past that. And then you've got Mr. Doom and Gloom himself entering with a clack. I think the door is a clack, isn't it?
Yeah. And suddenly everything is all dark and gloomy.
Yeah, everything changes. Oh, because he is in a bad mood. Bad mood. And then we've got another classic Quincy face. This is a good Quincy episode. We're having a good time here.
Thank you, Lily.
And he just says closet and makes a little, oh no.
This is so cute. I love it too.
Oh, he knows what's coming. And there is Tora in scary mafia mode. Yeah, on the phone. On the phone. So were you trying to guess immediately when you saw that? Were you like, who's he talking to? Oh.
No, I didn't know who it was. So I didn't even, I figured it was something mafia related, but I didn't know. So
I was playing a game of guess the thuglet.
Yeah.
Because I was like, it's gotta be one of them. Which one is it? And he's at the other end of the corridor, and Quincy is just kind of oh yeah, look, you're right, rolled up bed. Yeah, 10 points.
Anyway, I just have to say I love Quincy's hairdo.
It's
you know,
awesome.
Tora has like also a very cool hairdo, but like Quincy's hairdo is pretty like kind of standard, but I love it. I love the hair going in his eyes, the short on bottom, long on top. It's just beautiful.
Are you pro or against undercuts for Tora?
Oh, I'm fine with it. Although I don't know what happened to it. It seems to have disappeared.
Yeah, well, I love it. I love undercuts.
It's beautiful no matter what you do. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what he'll look like with short hair, but I'm sure he'll be fine too, you know? I think Tora is just a very handsome person and everything looks good on him.
Yeah, there is that. It was episode 100 where he was imagining himself in the future. His hair was a bit shorter then.
No, I think it was him. I think it was supposed to be like random Joe Schmo.
Oh, was it? I took it as that was he was imagining what he was going to be like in like 20 years. I don't know. And we've got Quincy. He looks like a little rabbit in the headlights. Just frozen and hope that Tora hasn't noticed that he's there.
I think like you might see him, but he's occupied.
Yeah, he's elsewhere, isn't he? He says, "Uh-oh." Yep. Another good Quincy panel. And then we see Tora reaching for folders with Gil written on them. Gil,
That's a lot of information he's compiled about Gil in like what, a couple of days.
Yeah. Why is it in a folder? Oh, well, he doesn't use technology, does he?
Probably. Maybe he probably finds it easier to think, I think, with stuff laid out before him. No, I feel like that's more his style. Yeah,
that's true.
Also, this is a way of visually showing us, although I guess he could have had it on his phone, but whatever.
Yeah, show, don't tell. Yeah. And then we've got him, he's looking at a bit of paper he's folded out, and still being all serious and moody. Then there's a close-up on his serious, moody face, and he has got his I am cross and concentrating face on. I quite like that panel. It's really nicely lit and nicely kind of moody and gritty.
I mean, and we know how concerned he is for Poppy, and we know that has something to do with her, obviously, because Gil's related to her. So he's got her back. He's on board with her like 100%. He'll do anything for her. Yeah, sweet Tora.
And then we go back to him being in the garden when he gets the phone call that he was on when Quincy tried to pretend he wasn't there anymore. And his phone goes, and it's Ronzo. Yep.
We still don't know why he's called Ronzo.
No, I am still curious about that. Yeah. It's got to come up sooner or later, hasn't it?
Well, sooner or later is a very long stretch of time.
That's true. Talking about names and things. I'm doing a contest entry for the webtoons Call to Action at the moment, and I've got this.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and well, actually, because thank you very much, you are one of my patrons on Patreon. I've been putting up the analysis, and one of the pages I've just finished has got this big long panel with all of the squadron all together in it. And it's the first time I've put them all together anywhere before, and I had to put their names underneath. Well, I didn't have to, but it'd be easier for everybody to kind of follow what on earth is going on if I just stick their names on there. And then I realised when I got to Yana, her name isn't Yana, but it's only mentioned once elsewhere in the comics. So then I was sitting there and I had to really think it out. I was like, okay, so am I going to call her am I going to put Yana in here and just ignore the fact that that is not actually her name? Everybody else's full name's in there. And that's what I went with in the end, because I thought you can read this as a standalone step. You haven't had to have read Celestis to read Song of Selene. So I was like, I'll just ignore it and pretend that hasn't happened.
That's funny.
Much easier. But I would be really interested to know as well where Tora gets his name from.
Yes.
And Goliath as well, because that's not exactly a regular old kid's name, is it?
Right. Yeah, it does sound like the kind of name he gave himself to make him sound scary. Although, why would you choose Goliath? Because he was defeated in the end, so whatever.
You don't often get to choose your own nickname, though, do you? You kind of earn a nickname for other people calling you that.
I hear. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe they were calling him that because he's short. And they thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's definitely because he's short, but like I thought he chose it. But yeah, you're right. Probably to make up for his shortness.
Anyway, so slight diversion there. Although back to my slight diversion, sorry. Q is not a name either, is it? Q is cow.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not familiar with anything but our part of the world, really. So maybe it is a normal name there. I don't know. My parents' names are all like their Hebrew names, and they're all like bird, peace. Like they are some animal names. So
fair enough.
So cow sounds like a weird name, but my mom's name is Jewish bird, and there's names like Benjamin, which is wolf, or Zev, also wolf, or Dove, which is bear. So these are very standard names.
I teach one of my students is called Bear.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
And he thinks it's hilarious the way that I pronounce it. I've got a very slight West Country accent. So it comes out as Bear, and he thinks that's amazing. He's only small, but he's very sweet. But yeah, I can't remember. He's got an unusual middle name as well, but he's very sweet. Bear. Anyway, what we got next? And then we've got Runzo/Gyu/Cow. Look, he looks. I really appreciate expressions when you can get 2 or 3 layers of expression in there, and this is a really good panel for that. So he is concerned. He's also cross. He definitely looks, like livid, not just like a little bit, oh, it's a bit annoying. No, he's like,
and we've never seen him like that. He's generally very mild-mannered and pleasant.
Exactly.
And positive.
Yeah. So whatever it is that he's kind of looking at, and he's kind of trying to stay out of the way as well as to not be noticed. He's very angry about it. And then we see just got her settled at 𝗪𝗕 Bay, and Runzo good because guess who just came by?
Oh no! I thought it was Gil, because he pulled out the folder called Gil. But yeah,
it's gotta be. I remember getting to that panel the first time I read this yesterday, and I was just like, oh no.
And thank God she left, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And Anissa takes a little surreptitious photo around the corner. Still cross. Yeah. And then we see he's hanging around with a couple of other people here. And then we've got Tora saying shit. I guess we just found the offensive language that we didn't know. We didn't know what the warning was for. We were like, it's not that bad.
Pretty mild for that popular.
And again, that's another really moody panel. I really like this kind of all the colors and everything is kind of toned down and very intense, and I really like it. And then Ronzo sent an image, and I didn't recognize that as Gil at first. Did you?
Oh, it's not Gil, it's Yadori.
It's Yadori.
It's the guy who, remember way back, I think in like 28, Tora had while he was in Poppy's apartment, he had a flashback of this guy. He was at a pool table, and this guy told him, hey, I heard you had a girl. Do you want me to like play around with her, knock her up a little bit? And then Tora smashed the pool club over his head. The pool was thick. This is that.
Oh, it shows you how dumb I am, doesn't it? I was looking at it, I was like, I don't remember Gil looking anything like that.
Right.
Wait, what? But yeah, he's sniffing around, and he looks shifty, doesn't he? He is a shifty looking dude.
He was the guy, he like had this expression, the same expression back in 28, where he like had that feeling of bloodlust, where he was excited about hurting someone, and he was like,
yeah,
this was got his blood going, you know. It was very spooky,
predatory. Yeah,
like, you know, I don't know, I feel like there's maybe different types of personalities in the mafia, and some like don't really relish the violence, but this guy seemed like psycho.
yeah, he's not good, is he?
He also seemed a little like drugged out from his reaction to Tora. You know, he said that, and then Tora smashed him over the head, and he was like, oh, like he seemed very drugged out, and he was like, oh, fine, you know, I'll leave her alone. But it wasn't, to me, it seemed like his brain wasn't fully there, like he wasn't fully responsive. But if he would have been more alert, I feel like he would have had more fear in his eyes. But he didn't really have fear in his eyes even after Tora smashed him up. So
yeah. I mean, you would kind of imagine that a lot of these mafia people are on all kinds of substances, just as a, you know, well, they're going to be around it all the time, aren't they? And perhaps not the higher ups, but certainly the thugs like him. It must be, you know, easily accessible, mustn't it?
Yeah. So now I'm wondering, so the fact that Tora then pulled out a Gil folder makes me wonder, does he think there's a connection between Yadori and Gil? That like Gil hired him or something?
Yeah, maybe. Gil he can't be working alone, can he, doing what he's doing? So there's got to be other people kind of in on it somewhere. Is Yadori with the 𝗪𝗀𝗱𝗁?
I don't think so. I don't think we got any confirmation either way, because he's just the guy in the pool club. So I don't think that it was his clan allegiance was mentioned, if he has any.
Yeah, he's kind of imagine that they kind of stick to their own areas, like that the pool club would be, that's where the 𝗪𝗪𝗱𝗁 hang out. So at the very least, he's not going to be with like 9 daggers, isn't it? Yeah.
Or 𝗪𝗲𝗱𝗁𝗁 clan.
Yeah. And then we're back to Tora kind of standing and being grumpy, looking at bits of paper again. Then we've got Quincy still hasn't moved. Still in his his little fear pose. Hey Pops, just one more thing. I think some work matters just came up for Tora, so he'll probably be in his room till it's done. And he's sweating, and he still looks so like, I can't go there. The behavioural term for this is tonic immobility.
Chronic immobility?
Tonic immobility.
Tonic?
Yeah, and that is that kind of like deer in a headlights, rabbit in a headlights. And it's that freeze response. That's what's called tonic immobility, and that is definitely what Quincy is doing, because he just hasn't moved since he saw Tora in scary moments.
It's so funny because one of the things I did my bachelor's in psychology and English, which is exciting, and I did my master's in business. But it's funny to see, like, you know, you're using the terms of your trade, like that's the lens that you apply to the world. And I noticed like in every field that I learned, you know, I kind of looked at the world in another lens. Oh, this is the psychology lens, and now I have those terms. This is the business lens, and now I have those terms. So it's cute, like, you know, you work with horses and you have the the behavior, animal behavior terms.
Yeah. It's quite interesting because tonic immobility is a prey thing, really. I mean, all animals can experience it, but it does tend to be more of a prey thing. If you've ever wondered why, you know, when you see like nature documentaries, yeah, crocodile, and it takes like a zebra, and the zebra doesn't struggle, it just accepts its death. And well, that happens. That's tonic immobility, and it happens so that the rest of the herd can get away. So it just kind of like gives up on life. But it's a really fascinating like state for animals to be in. But humans do experience it as well. And yeah, I just, the second I saw it, like you say, you look at your surroundings through, you know, what you know, don't you? And I was just like,
Nice. That's pretty cool.
oh, dude.
Even though he is struck immobile, he is still able to tell Poppy. I think that just shows his sensitivity, or he doesn't want Poppy to be worried, or he doesn't want Tora to be disturbed. But either way, he's still, you know, he's a thoughtful person, and he's looking out for the people he cares about.
Yeah, he's such a good boy.
Yes.
So then Poppy looks a bit like, what-oh, because she's obviously getting used to the kind of dichotomy of Tora. So just in case you're looking for him and he's nowhere to be found. Gotcha. Yeah, she must be at a point now where she knows him well enough to be like, okay, that's him in work mode, and that's him in like off-duty mode. And yeah, and then we got Quincy. I'll be on my way now. Ciao. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing. She says bye, slides the doors, and then off she goes, going ha, for a couple of things, and then big sneeze.
Yep.
I really liked that. It's a really funny panel. For all the dust. So yeah, it's so dusty in here. I should get to cleaning up now. And then work matters, she says while she's wiggling her nose. That means he's in do not disturb mode right now. So she's looking down this is a nice nice panel here as well. She's kind of looking down into the dark, into the gloom. So even though she's in a dusty old dirty bedroom that she's about to start scrubbing, where Tora is still darker and danker and don't want to be in.
She looks worried when she thinks work matters. It's interesting because I wonder if she's worried for herself. Like, is she worried that this has to do with, you know, her like situation, or does she think it's like his other clan duties? My kind of thoughts on that were that she's worried that things are going to be happening again and she's not going to know anything about them again because she just doesn't, you know, didn't get told anything before. So now if things are happening, she's not going to know what they are until the last moment again. And that must be so stressful to kind of, you know, be left in the dark and know that these things are going on around you and it's dangerous for you. But that nobody's going to tell you, and you can't make them tell you, can you? So I would ask. I mean, I wonder if that's at some point she's gonna tell Tora, hey, you know, let me in, fill me in, like, don't leave me in the dark.
Yeah, I wouldn't surprise me. Whether he does or not, I suppose doesn't matter, isn't it? And then we see the little corridor, Poppy's room and Tora's room. So near yet so far.
Quincy in between them, or is Quincy somewhere else?
I don't know. I was trying to figure that out as well.
I think somewhere else. That one, that like more pronounced theme is just separator. Yeah, and
but they were all piled in the room together, and Poppy and Tora went out. He was just huddled up against. But I think that they were all in Tora's room, weren't they then?
Yeah.
Because ghosts. I hate that we're fighting at the same time. I'm glad we did. At least now I have a little more understanding of the headspace he might be in.
Lying, you know, I think so many couples can say, I hate that we're fighting, but I'm glad we did. you know, fighting. I remember, oddly enough, so I remember when I was a kid, I used to be like very annoyed when my parents were fighting. I was like, oh, it shows that they're, you know, obviously not meant to be together and they're not compatible and like they should just get divorced. And when I met my husband, I was like, we're never gonna fight. We're just gonna be, we're like so in love, we're so compatible, like we're so similar, we're never gonna fight. And then the first times that we started fighting, I went straight back and just thought of my parents fighting. I was like, oh, I guess it wasn't so bad after all. I guess it is part of normal marriage.
I think a lot of it, you know, when you watch all those Disney princess movies and stuff, that, you know, and they never fight. And so, you know, you do kind of grow up with a bit of a kind of clouded view. And when you're a kid, you have no idea of context either, do you? So you know, your mum and dad might have been fighting about what they're going to have for dinner, and that to you was a very serious matter. But you know, you don't really know.
No, I mean, I did, because they were a little bit more open, I guess. But I know it was a small house. But it was more serious stuff. But you know, that's perfectly legitimate. And I think that, I know for me and y'all, all of our really serious fights were very difficult, obviously, like horribly difficult. But at the end of it, like after processing a lot, we ended up sharing so much about our vulnerabilities and learning much more about ourselves and each other, and really coming to understand each other a lot more, because we had to be so open and honest, and you know, really understand what was bothering each other and why it was so upsetting for us. So I think we ended up coming away with a lot more understanding and sympathy for each other.
Yeah.
Than before.
Yeah, you know, sometimes there are things that can only be said when you're in a certain like headspace, as Poppy said, aren't there? So there were perhaps things that were said and done that otherwise would never have come out. So yeah, I can see why she's glad that they kind of had an argument. And I think Tora is still a bit of an unknown quantity, isn't he? You know,
right?
With how with how he's going to react to things, you know. So she's probably like, oh, thank God that's out of the way and it wasn't that bad.
Right. Yeah, and once again, I've said this a lot, but this is what I love about Midnight Poppyland. It's not like this Disney that you mentioned, you know, it doesn't stop when they find each other and then the assumption is happily ever after. It continues, and it shows how relationships progress and how they have ups and downs and bumps in the road. Yeah, and it's just so healthy to see. Yeah,
and you know, I always see comments on especially some of the bigger originals and things, you know, people saying, like Charles in Let's Play, people saying, oh, he's really unhealthy and he, you know, doesn't know how to communicate and, you know, all of this stuff. And I'm going, yes, but there are people in the world like that. Yes. You can't just be like, well, it's a story, so I will just disregard them. If you want friction and tension in a story, then you need to have some of these things. You have to have some kind of adversity to overcome, don't you? Yes. So I don't mind at all seeing the kind of a more negative side of people. It's something I try and write as well, you know, bearing in mind that is what makes characters interesting. But I think if it was all just kind of happy, then it would be a very, very boring story, wouldn't it?
Yep. Oh my gosh, yes, I see enough of that. There's a lot of stories where I see the two leads and there's nothing holding them apart. They're not getting together because I don't even know why. I'm like, what, you're like 15 and you don't know how to talk about your feelings, you're shy or whatever. Like, you have to have conflict. There has to be some reason keeping them apart, you know, in order for it to be interesting.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of obstacle, doesn't there? There has to be interest and growth for characters as well, you know, not even romantically speaking, but you know, you've got to have something there, because otherwise everybody is going to be very flat and one-dimensional, and it's going to might be the prettiest art you've ever seen in your life, but it's going to be a very boring story.
Yes, thank you. Exactly.
I quite like the more kind of difficult subjects and things as well. The next episode of Celestis, we get to see Yana battered and bruised, which is something that as I was sending it across to my beta readers, I was like, is this too much? Have I gone, you know, have I gone a little bit over the top here? And they said, no, it's just very, very shocking and unusual to see the female lead anywhere in any state other than looking pretty.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, but she's got, you know, one side of her face is completely swollen. She's got bandage. She's got black eyes. She's messed up. And if you want to know why, you're going to have to read it. But it was interesting when I thought back, you know, that you don't see physical depictions like that in females either, do you?
Yeah, that's one thing. I was listening to, I think Whiskey and Witcher, which is a Witcher podcast, and which is very nice, just plugging. So I think one of the things they always talk about is that Witcher allows the females to be not ideal looking, you know, like when Yennefer goes through her transformations or when she's yelling or crying or screaming, you know, she looks like she's really yelling and crying and screaming. She's not like beautiful while she does it. I mean, she's always nice, you know.
But no, there is that kind of rawness there, isn't there? Yeah, no, that's one of the things I like about it, and dirty as well. The women are dirty
and smelly, right? We've been told they're smelly. They're gonna go in that sewer.
No, I like that. I think it just kind of adds like another dimension to all the storytelling and everything, doesn't it? It makes it more immersive. Yes. For sure. Right, I'll hand over to you now.
Yep. So now we have, we see there's a time space and Poppy is cleaning the floor and she says, there, done. And we see, you know, we pull back. She is sitting there. There's a ladder, there's a bucket and a mop. Sorry, I just said those words and a certain song came to mind. I'll send it to you later. Whatever. It's a very popular song. Which those words. And we see the sun is, you know, kind of more setting. It's darker outside. Yeah, she's clearly been working for a while. That's all I can manage before it gets dark and it's yellow outside. The house is so big, I might get lost or something. Nice. And she's wringing out the rag. She's very sweaty. She has clips in her hair to tie her hair back. Her hair is disheveled. And she's been working hard. So.
Yep. In her cute little overalls.
I know, she looks really adorable. And good for her. You know, I think it's good for her. I know my mom is Israeli, so we always had chores growing up. And a lot of my like American classmates did not, and they didn't know how to clean at all. And when they like first moved into their own apartments, they were like, what do I do? Well, they got married because when I'm from there to get married, they don't move into their own apartment. They were like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I don't know how to clean, I don't know how to cook. I'm like, you guys never have chores in your life. So I appreciate that my mother, you know, made us do these basic life essential things, and that Poppy is doing it.
I know. See, I'm just an expert level sweeper, really. all of our chores were kind of animal chores when we were growing up. I think I was mucking out stables by the time I was about 10, I think.
Nice. Okay, well, you do know how to clean, then. Nice.
I'm really fast at it now.
Nice. So she is once again, you know, she's picking up the rag, and she thinks to herself as she's wiping her chin, it's hard to believe that just weeks ago, the biggest life challenges I faced were dealing with cranky old men, which was what's his name again, Mr. Lamb.
Yeah, Mr. Lamb.
And paying rent on time. And she stands up, vacuum, and she thinks to herself, I should go check on Tora. And she looks down the hallway and goes to his room and stands outside with her little slippers. And she's like, Tora, are you done with work? He's a little hesitant because she doesn't want to disturb him. And then she's like, the door was presumably open. She looks inside, but it is empty. But he has made his bed.
Yeah, he has, because he is a good boy also. This whole little sequence of panels, I really like horror. And this has a real horror story kind of vibe to it, you know, when you're in like the dark house and you're walking and the sun is going down and you're alone, but are you alone? I thought it was really good.
Yes, yeah, I agree. empty. So there's no one there, and we focus in, and yeah, it has that horror horror vibe. She has black around, you know, the edges of the panel, and she's like, Madam, does he have to go for her?
and she's kind of, you know, getting, the tension is ramping up, and she's getting more and more kind of like about everything.
And she pulls out her hair clips and just throws them on the floor. She's, you know, panting, and she's like, screw pride and dignity, and she just dumps him on the floor and runs outside. And she's like, if there's something I want to tell him, then I should just tell it to him. So, which I totally agree with. I'm a very big fan of like being open, and you know, I don't believe in this like, oh, maybe should I? I'm scared. Like, no, I'm very forthright. So
better out than in.
But so she, what do you think she wants to tell him? I'm not quite sure about. Like,
I love you, Tora.
Yeah, I was like, is she gonna be like, oh, thank you again, Tora, you're the best?
I really like your new haircut.
Right. Let me feel your new haircut. Sorry. So she's right. Yeah. I think, you know, I think maybe she's also, the fact that he's not there, she's like, well, you know, if something happened to him, I wouldn't want to not have told him something. So I'm going to tell him whatever I want to tell him, just in case, you know, he's not going to be here all the time, or, you know, she knows that life is dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So she's standing on like the porch, and she sees the van still there, and she keeps looking for him in other rooms. She slides open the door. She's like, Tora, are you home? She's like, not in Quincy's room, which again, I'm also happy to see he keeps it neat, but he has more stuff. Tora just has a bed. He has a bed that's rolled up, plus like 2 suitcases and like a clothing rack thing on top.
Yeah.
You know, and like,
or an air purifier thing, is that?
Right, and bags and more bags. No, pillows. These are pillows. But yeah, Tora probably came with like, I don't know, the shirt on his back and maybe like one change.
Yeah,
like,
some spare shoes maybe.
But he travels, you know, he's got to bring his stuff with him.
Got his go bag in his car, or they've got the van now, haven't they? But yeah.
Very classy suitcases too. It's not like a backpack or something. It's like proper nice suitcases.
Proper real leather ones, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, this fellow. And she is panting. She's nervous. She's like not here either, and she's in the kitchen and she's sniffing. And the kitchen's cute. It has like, you know, nice little marble thing, but it's really cute kitty in back.
That's a Maniki Neko, a lucky cat. So it brings, with you see them in quite a lot of Asian businesses have them in, and I'm obsessed with them. I've got several of them. It's like ornaments and things. You see them with their little paws going up and down, but depending on which paw is up, I couldn't tell you which way around it is, but one is to bring good fortune and one is to bring money. I was like,
it looked familiar, but I wouldn't know what it was. I thought it was like a cartoon character from something. But.
Yeah. I think I've got one. In fact, I have.
So she sniffs and she's like, wait a minute, why do I smell? And she's sniffing, and then we see an ashtray with cigarette, which we know is Tora's way of getting stressed.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yeah, this is so far a 2 cigarette problem. Yeah,
right. 2 cigarettes is not that bad considering what
exactly
he's nervous about.
Yeah, and
he's sitting there with his loose leaf, and he's still at the first page, which is interesting, but okay. You know, open up.
That's just how the 3D asset is.
Yeah. And she's like, Tora, and she comes into the room. He looks up at her and he's like, Pops, and there's like a paper levitating in midair.
Yeah.
So there he was holding it, and it's just like it's in the middle of falling.
Maybe, who knows?
This is the magical element of the ghost. He's using the ghost to read. The ghost is holding the paper for him.
That's exactly it. So Tora is friends with the ghost and just hasn't let them in on it yet.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that she was able to get his attention on the first try, that he wasn't like so caught up that he couldn't even hear her.
Yes, but he does love the poppy, so you know.
Yeah. And then she's like, Tora, and she looks like she's about to say something, but we'll never know because guess who comes?
Best boy.
Yep. He's like, there you are. I was looking over for both of you. Phew, I spent way too long on the balls. Anyway, how goes the cleaning pops? Whoops, was I interrupting anything?
I love this, the chicken shit bit.
And Poppy says chicken shit, right? Because she was like, kind of like rescued from having to express her feelings by Quincy. So
oh, I took it as like she's telling herself that she is chicken shit because you know she's chickened out of telling him. She's using Quincy as a yeah.
Meaning like I think Quincy's arrival allowed her to chicken out.
yeah. Instead of saying actually you are interrupting, go away, Quincy. She was just like, no, it's fine.
And Quincy would be like listening in from the door for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. His little silhouette. Yeah.
And she's like, no, not at all. And she's blushing. So clearly, I think what else she was going to say was that very emotional. So,
and it looked like she was just going to yell whatever it was.
Right.
Like, just like, you know, like, get it out. Just say it, get it over and done with. Yeah.
And Quincy has these, shopping bags in his hand. And Poppy's like, oh, I got some cleaning done until it went dark. I'm starting with the ceilings first. Yak, yak, yak. And Tora's like, sigh. So, he wants to hear about it. He wanted to hear whatever Poppy had to say.
Well, she hasn't been talking to him, so he was probably like, oh my God, she's gonna talk to me again. Quincy's here, yay.
Yeah. And Quincy's like, oh, and you haven't told him about it, have you? And she's like, no, not yet. And he's like, good, may I break the news to him? She's like, I was like, wow, Quincy, this is not big news. Like, it's not so exciting. She just said she's gonna be clean. But
to Quincy it is.
What's he excited about? Why is this you want to break the news?
It's so naughty.
Like, sure, go ahead. Because she also is curious, like, what's the big deal?
She's like, what are you up to?
Right. And of course the bag he buys is bright pink. It's nothing's muted with this fellow.
It definitely looks like a boutique bag, doesn't it? Been out there.
There's a stroke to make this special announcement. Hey, boo-boo, Poppy offered to be your housekeeper in exchange for the lodging. And Tora does not react. This is not a big deal, right? He's like,
doesn't care.
Goes back to his papers and he pulls out something. He's like, I guess what I got for her is a uniform. When he pauses, Tora pauses, looking up. Poppy pauses, and you see little frills in the corner. And then you see the made outfit, which in Quincy's mind, she's like a uniform, and they both Tora like a uniform, and Poppy looks chagrined, Tora's blushing, Quincy is looking like a Cheshire cat because he got her the stupid, stereotypical, sexy maid, like Halloween costume uniform.
He's just like, oh, sexy. So pleased.
Quincy, oh my God.
Oh my God.
He's so embarrassing. I would smack him. Oh my God. And I would burn that outfit and I would probably return it. But like, no, Quincy, you do not get to dress me up in a sexy outfit to please your best friend. What is wrong with you? You are such a meddler.
I mean, I'm quite game for anything. I love dressing up and stuff. But I mean, if someone said to me, oh, you're going to be my housekeeper, wear this, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely not. And I don't, I'd be very interested to see what it is that Quincy says or does to persuade Poppy to wear this, or if she will wear it.
I really hope to God she will not wear it. I really do.
I kind of want to see it. I want to see her furious and wearing it and yelling about yelling about how boys are all misogynists and
I I wouldn't wear it. I mean, like, I know Quincy is like a good guy. He has his heart in the right place, and he thinks things are funny. But I would not wear it. Sorry.
This is good. He's. I think he's going to pitch it to her like, oh, it's just inspiration for my novel writing.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If anything, I can see Poppy wearing it if Tora, if like she sees Tora's blush and she's like, Tora, what do you think? And he's like, well, she sees that he kind of wants it. That in that case, I can see her wearing it, but not in front of Quincy. You're like,
definitely not. No, it just brought me back to the office closet. You know, when Quincy's going, yes, the office closet. Yeah, it's making right. Yeah,
sure, brother.
That's what it is. It's for one of his secret garden books. That's my theory.
Quincy. Oh my gosh. He's so immature sometimes.
All the time. It's great.
Oh, I love him. Something else.
Oh dear. I really like this week's episode. I thought it was great. There was a lot of funny stuff in there. And there was some really good panel sequences as well. That I just thought were fantastic. Like the kind of horror story, you know, young girl walking around spooky house. I love movies like that. So when I saw this, I was like, yay! And then the ghosts and everything as well. Yeah, we're in my territory here.
Nice. Yeah, I love the fact that there's so much Quincy in these episodes. So I'm a happy girl. Well, I'm guessing next episode we'll start out with some more of this uniform thing. So I think it'll be a funny one too.
Poppy and her maid outfit. Yeah, I think it's going to be an amusing one, isn't it? Yeah, maybe we'll see Quincy wearing the uniform. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I'm down for that. I mean, it's not his size, so it won't really cover him that well.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is why my daughter asked me. She said we were making a list of YouTube channels she can't watch because they're inappropriate. And guess what she put on? My podcast. She was like, your podcast is inappropriate. I'm like, well, it's for adults.
What have you told?
Yeah. This is my very snarky daughter.
Oh, I love that you put a video of her telling you that she knows you're not asexual.
Yes, because I follow shirtless guys on Instagram, which is only one shirtless guy, only Brendan. He's the only Tora.
That's like all it takes, Mindy.
Yeah.
Oh bless her, it's funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go see what my snarky daughter's up to, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure, as usual.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having me again.
Yep.
Thank you so much to my current patrons: Susie, Lady Libras, Lily, Jenny, Molly, Veronica, Emily, 𝗪𝗱𝗱𝗀, Saucy Tacos, Meg, 𝗪𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀, Priya, Alexa, Misty, Joanne, Patty, 𝗪𝗲𝗱𝗀𝗀, Esther, I'm Watching You People, Taurus Poppy Seed, Marie, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Miranda, Christine, Sadie, Kelly, Daniel, Teresa, Mrs. Gastaldo, Jen, and Tatiana. Your support is truly appreciated.